Yo, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video. Here to talk a lot about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on PC. Quite a lot to dissect, the good and the bad, because there certainly is some bad. Steam data, will look at that, concurrent player counts, which I would say it's doing fairly well when you actually contextualize the data and don't spin data just to fit the narrative that you want to push, which a lot of people do, especially in the days of social media rage baiting being very big. And don't get me wrong, I do a little bit of that myself, but when it comes to interpreting data, I try to give you guys all the information, so we'll talk all about that at the end of this video. First of all, I do want to give a good shout to our friends at Green Man Gaming. If you have yet to buy the game, they've got it discounted. XP members, $40.17. It's a tremendous deal. Steam key redeems directly on there, and they do have the Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth Twin Pack for $57.39 for XP members. You don't pay tax either. You get a Steam key right away, and you can redeem it right on there, and you'll have to go through the 153 gigabyte install for FF7 Rebirth. Like, my god, what is going on here as far as these install sizes go? It's insanity, but it is what it is. Let's talk about the PC version itself. I only played it briefly so far, so I can't really dissect everything about it. The settings are still fairly limited. I mean, yes, they put more emphasis in it than the FF7 Remake and more effort into it, but the FF7 Remake PC setting options were, like, legitimately terrible. At least we got 3 tiers of PC settings now instead of 2 with FF7 Remake, but playing it on my RTX 4070, the game has been running incredibly well. For the little bit that I played, again, I talked about it before, but right now, like, I want to replay this game, but I already did 2 playthroughs on the PlayStation 5. There's a billion games coming out, and, like, I want to play the game. I do another playthrough of it right now, but the thing is, covering video games, I wouldn't be doing my due diligence by playing a game for the 3rd time and not playing games that I haven't played and need to at least know about, so I can cover them on this channel and talk about them on this channel. Like, it would just be malpractice for me as, like, a content creator and talking about video games to do another playthrough of FF7 Rebirth and not continue playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and not finish up Dynasty Warriors Origins and not finish Freedom Wars Remastered, not get through Tales of Grace's F, etc., etc. I try to get through every major game that comes out every year, and yes, while I loved FF7 Rebirth and I'd love to do another playthrough of it right now, I think it would just be malpractice on my part in terms of being a content creator to do that. That being said, I did boot it up, played it for about a half an hour, 45 minutes, around that range, and it was running flawlessly for me. Now, 45 minutes of game time can only get you so much information, but I was getting well over 100 frames per second. Now, I am playing at 1440p. My monitor is a 1440p monitor, so keep that in mind. I should be getting well over 100 FPS, but I didn't have stuttering, didn't have crashes, nothing like that. So, as far as performance goes, it's very good. Now, if you're on an AMD GPU, absolutely egregious that there's no FSR support here. What are we doing as far as that's concerned? And I had a feeling that that was going to happen, because if you read, like, the promotional material for FF7 Remake, you watch the trailers, they just beat you over the head with, oh, we got DLSS in this game. We got DLSS in this game. Wait a second, what about FSR? Why is FSR not here? Yes, I believe you can mod in a solution that'll make it run better on FF7, on AMD GPUs, excuse me. But why does it have to get to that point? I had to do the same thing with FF16. I believe it was cutscenes were locked at 30 FPS. Had to mod that in to get 60 frames per second. If you want ultra-wide support, there's a mod available to get you ultra-wide support as well. But again, it would be nice if all of this was natively implemented into the game and it wasn't something, that it's just DLSS. Now, in the case of DLSS, I do know that there are cases, and I don't know if it's the case with Rebirth, where publishers work with NVIDIA and AMD and will structure deals where it's DLSS only or if it's FSR only. They're not going to be transparent about stuff like that, but I believe that was the case for Star Wars Jedi Survivor as well, where they had a deal with AMD and it only had FSR at launch. So that does happen, and that's one of the scarier things about AI implementation as well. On a software level, you could certainly strike some some deals to negate the effect. Like, we're getting into timed exclusivity on PlayStation 5, throwing money for third-party exclusivity. We're throwing money for third-party exclusivity features. I don't know if that's the case. I'm just letting you guys know that that does happen. And, yeah, just something to be mindful of. But, nevertheless, my experience on an NVIDIA GPU has been rather stellar, but obviously the lack of FSR and all of that, and just PC optimization could be better. It's a lot better than Remake, but Remake set a very low standard. Square Enix is gonna have to do quite a lot to, rebuild or, build some goodwill with the audience, but it takes time, and I certainly think it's possible, and I think Rebirth is a step in the right direction in doing that, because the general reception has been mostly positive. I mean, the Steam reviews right now, 4,000 reviews, 76% positive, so that's not ideal. I mean, the game itself should be overwhelmingly positive. If you talk about it, the quality of the game, I feel like it should be overwhelmingly positive. I think it's that good of a game. Now, Steam concurrent numbers, it peaked at over 40,000 concurrent players, which I think is a really, really healthy number when you consider the fact that it is a delayed release on PC, and on top of that, it is a sequel. It is a sequel of a narrative-driven game. Anybody that played, or you have to beat FF7 Remake to play Rebirth. I think most people are of that mindset that they're not going to buy Rebirth without playing Remake. Even though Rebirth is a way better game, it is so narrative-driven, and FF7 is, tied to its narrative so strongly. It takes place right after the events of Remake. You gotta beat Remake first, so I do think that's pushing a lot of people. That's always going to be the case. That's always going to be the case with any sequel, especially one that's as heavily narrative-driven. It's a different thing when it's like God of War 2018, where that's a bit of a soft reimagining of the franchise, or whatever you want to call it. In the case of FF7 Rebirth, it's a direct narrative-driven sequel from FF7 Remake, and you gotta play Remake first. On top of that, 40,000 is a super healthy number for a game that's being released a year at delay. This puts it about the level of Horizon Forbidden West. It's right around that range, which I think that's a serviceable comparison point, especially given that Square Enix does have some poor goodwill with their audience, and let's be real, JRPG's still trying to find their footing on PC. I think they're doing very well. Metaphor peaked at over 80,000 concurrent players, and obviously FF7 Rebirth, if it was a day one release, I think would have peaked at over 100,000 concurrent players, but that's just not the case. And if you looked at it from that standpoint, that number would have been viewed as, wow, that's amazing. And at over 40,000, it does put it as the most successful single-player Final Fantasy game in terms of concurrent player counts of all time. Higher than FF16, and well above Final Fantasy VII Remake as well. Now, Remake came at a 2.5-year delay, and it was delayed on PC's Steam release with the Epic Game Store exclusivity. It was just a train wreck of a release, but it's like 3xing FF7 Remake, which is great. I think that's a great number. Could it be better? Sure. Could the PC version be better? Sure. But I would say from most of the data that we have in terms of concurrent player, I mean, that's really all I'm assessing, I would say that's a pretty good number. Not a slam dunk home run, certainly not a failure, but I think a solid number all around, and this is certainly going to be a game that people, I think, buy over the course of several years as they beat FF7 Remake, as the PC version gets better. It's gonna do very well on PC, I believe, and hopefully Part 3 also has a relatively quick turnaround, if not day one. Who knows if Square, put in place a deal right when the trilogy was greenlit, but, I don't have that kind of information, but it would be great to see it day one. I think Square accepting these deals from Sony to let Sony screw off and do live service titles ad nauseum while they offer the exclusives, even if they're timed, and just build up PlayStation's ecosystem. What does that offer for Square? It offers them actually nothing, and it actually all it does is limits the appeal of Square's own IP while helping Sony build their ecosystem. It's a gain for Sony, and I don't know how much Sony is paying for exclusivity, but I don't think Square's getting the mileage out of it. Even if it's like, I can't ascertain how much it is. I would imagine somewhere in the ballpark of the 8 figures, but, I don't know exactly how much it is, but we'll see how exclusivity rolls out in the future. But that's going to do it for me. That's my rambling on it. You know, PC version certainly could be better. My experience with it, from what I played, again, very short amount of time, was really good, but, you know, with the lack of FSR, it's just like, come on, man, what are we doing? I get it, there's deals made, and Square Enix certainly isn't shy from making, deals like that, but, there's better ways to handle this, and the PC version outright could be better. So, you know, unfortunate. They're certainly much better than some of their other outings, and hopefully a work in progress, and hopefully they'll do much better with part 3 as well. Just onwards and upwards from here. But that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.